I hid behind the wardrobe and heard my cheating wife whisper to her, "Lover, you need to make my husband pay for our date." He chuckled, but I'm much richer than him. "It's no problem." Her next words made my blood run cold. "It's not about the money. It's about humiliating him. We love watching him suffer. This will be devastating revenge." I used to believe I had a good life, not perfect, but stable, predictable, Sarah. And I had been together for 6 years, married for 4. We weren't one of those couples who still had that honeymoon spark, but we were comfortable, or at least that's what I thought. I worked long hours as a senior accountant, and Sarah had her job as a marketing executive. We had a modest but cozy home, a cat named Milo, and a life that seemed ordinary but fulfilling. Lately, though, something had changed. Sarah had started pulling away from me little by little. At first, I told myself it was stress. She was working late more often, taking mysterious weekend getaways with friends I barely knew, and keeping her phone glued to her hand at all times. Our conversations had become mechanical, like we were just two people sharing a house, rather than a married couple. I wanted to believe it was nothing that I was overthinking. But then one night everything changed. It started with laughter. Not the kind of laugh she shared with me. This was different, low, teasing, almost intimate. I had just finished brushing my teeth when I heard it. It was past midnight, and Sarah had gone to bed earlier, claiming she was exhausted. Curious, I walked toward our bedroom, moving as silently as possible. The door was slightly ajar, and the light from her phone illuminated her face in the dark room. She was on a call at first. I considered walking in and pretending I didn't hear anything, but something, instinct, maybe told me to stop, so I listened. "You need to make my husband pay for our date," Sarah whispered, a playful edge in her voice. I felt my stomach twist. "Pay for what then?" A man chuckled in the other end. His voice was deep, confident. "But I'm much richer than him, Babe. It's no problem." I clenched my fist. Sit was worse than I thought. She wasn't just cheating. She was openly disgusting in money with another man, maybe even letting him provide for her in ways he never had. But it was her next words that shattered my world. "It's not about them, Ani," she said, voice dripping with amusement. "It's about humiliating him. We love watching him suffer. This will but devastating revenge." Time froze, my breath caught in my throat. This wasn't just an affair. This wasn't just some selfish fling. She wanted to break me. The room suddenly felt too small, the walls pressing in. I gripped the door frame, my nails digging into the wood. I wanted to burst into the room, grab the phone from her hands, demand an explanation, but I didn't. It needed more than an argument. I needed proof. I needed a plan. I barely slept that night, lying beside Sarah, hearing her slow, peaceful breathing. I felt an overwhelming sense of betrayal. It wasn't just that she had cheated. It was the why that haunted me. What had I done to deserve this? Why did she want to humiliate me of all things? Had I been too predictable, too boring? Had I stopped making her feel special? Doubt crept in, whispering that maybe I was to blame. But then I remembered her words, "We love watching him suffer." This wasn't about me failing as a husband. This was about Sarah's twisted need for power. I had spent years being loyal, loving her unconditionally. Now I saw her for what she truly was, a woman who enjoyed control, who found pleasure in deception. But she wasn't going to win. I was going to turn her game against her. I spent the next few days collecting evidence. I started checking our bank statements, looking for irregularities. Sarah had been careful. No direct hotel charges. Nothing suspicious. But then I noticed something strange. Multiple withdrawals of cash, aligned large amounts. She wasn't charging their dates to her card. She was using my money to fund them. It was infuriating, but also useful. If I played this right, it would work against her. I checked her phone whenever I got the chance, taking screenshots of messages, call logs even. The saved name of the man she was talking to, Oliver. The texts were nauseating, explicit, filled with cruel jokes at my expense. "He actually thinks I'm at work, late, lol, poor guy. I made him buy me a necklace today. Too bad he doesn't know who I'm wearing it for." Issa ved everything. Then I reached out to someone who could help me. Max was a YouTuber who specialized in exposing cheaters. His channel, The Truth Revealed, had millions of subscribers, and he was known for taking down some of the most manipulative people on the internet. I sent him an email with a summary of what was happening. He responded within an hour, "This is insane. I want to help, send me everything you have." So I did. I sent the screenshots, the recordings, the texts, the video evidence from our home security system. Sarah sneaking out at odd hours, kissing Oliver on our front porch while I was asleep inside. Max was ecstatic. He wanted to make this his biggest video. Yet I told him I wasn't just looking for exposure. I wanted Sarah to feel what I had felt, the humiliation, the betrayal. We spent the next few days planning how to release the video at the perfect time. I wasn't just going to confront Sarah. I was going to destroy her entire facade in front of everyone she held dear, and she wouldn't see it coming 1 week later. The video went live, title exposing a cheater wife secretly plots revenge against her own husband, caught on tape. The reaction was instant. The video gained hundreds of thousands of views in mere hours. Comments flooded in. People were horrified, disgusted, outraged. This is pure evil. How can someone do this to their own husband? She deserves everything coming to her. Sarah had no idea she was at work when it dropped, but I was waiting when she came home. The moment Sarah stepped through the front door, I knew she had seen it. She looked at me, her face pale and stiff, her phone clutched tightly in her hand. Her breathing was uneven. "You did this," she whispered. It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed, heart steady. I exposed the truth. That's all. Her lips parted like she was about to argue, but then she hesitated. Her eyes flicked down to her phone again. The comments were vicious. Thousands of people tearing into her, dissecting her betrayal, calling her every name imaginable. She had been caught in 4K, and there was no escaping it. She let out a shaky breath, her hands trembling. "You ruined me." I scoffed. "You ruined yourself." I just turned on the lights. Tears welled in her eyes, but they weren't tears of regret. They were tears of someone who was losing control. Sarah had always been good at spinning narratives, at twisting reality to fit their version of events. But this was undeniable. There were texts, voice recordings, video evidence, even her own words dripping with malice. "It's not about the money. It's about humiliating him. We love watching him suffer." She had thought she was invincible, that she could do whatever she wanted and walk away unscathed. Now she was watching her world burn. Over the next 48 hours, everything came crashing down around Sarah. Her friends turned against her. The same people she gossiped with, the ones who laughed behind my back, abandoned her. Some sent texts cutting her off entirely. Others blocked her outright. Her family was humiliated. Her younger sister, Emily, messaged me, horrified. I don't even know who she is anymore. Even her parents, who'd once adored me, called to apologize. Her job was in danger. Sarah had built a professional reputation based on charmant confidence, but the video was everywhere, and people at her office found out. Someone forwarded it to HR. They didn't fire her outright, but the cold looks, the whispers, the ruined credibility, that was its own punishment. And Oliver, her rich lover, ghosted her. I wasn't surprised. He had never truly cared about her. He was just along for the ride, enjoying the thrill. Now that she was publicly toxic, he wanted nothing to do with her. She tried calling him again and again and again. No answer. Sarah had lost everything. And the best part, I didn't have to lift a finger. She'd been so eager to ruin me, to see me suffer, only to end up watching her own life collapse instead. On the third night after the video went viral, I found Sarah sitting in the living room. She was still in the clothes she had worn the day before, hair disheveled, eyes hollow. She looked up at me, voice small. "Can we talk?" For the first time in weeks, I saw fear in her. Not anger, not defiance, just fear. I sat down, keeping my distance. "Talk." She swallowed hard. I don't know why I did it. I stayed silent. She sniffled at first. It was fun, the secrecy, the thrill. Oliver made me feel special. And then, I don't know, I got caught up in it, the power of knowing something you didn't. Her voice cracked. And when I realized how easy it was to manipulate you, I think it made me feel important, like I was in control of something. I clenched my jaw. I had spent so many nights wondering why now hearing. It just confirmed what I had already known she had. Never loved me the way I loved her do. You even feel guilty, asked, finally tears spilled down her cheeks. I do. But it's too late, isn't it? I exhaled slowly. Yeah, it is. She wiped at her face, nodding. I don't deserve forgiveness. I studied her. No, you don't, Sarah. Looked shattered. And yet, for the first time, I didn't feel broken anymore. I felt free. The next day, I filed for divorce. Sarah didn't fight it. She didn't try to negotiate or manipulate. She just signed, the papers, hands shaking, silent tears rolling down. Her face when I packed my bags, I could feel her watching me. But I didn't look back. She had made her choice, and I had made mine. I walked out of that house knowing one thing for certain. Revenge wasn't about destroying her. It was about reclaiming myself. Months later, I had rebuilt my life. I got a promotion at work. I poured my energy into my career and started saving for a new future. I reconnected with old friends, people who actually cared about me, who supported me when I needed it the most. I started dating again slowly, carefully. I had scars, but I wasn't afraid anymore. And Sarah, she faded into the background. She moved to another city, trying to escape the shame. She never remarried, never regained the reputation she once had. Sometimes I wondered if Shiva regretted it all, but it didn't matter because I was finally free, and that was the only revenge I ever truly needed. Revenge isn't always about destruction. It's about taking back control. Karma has a way of coming forth those who think they're untouchable. Sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away and let them suffer the weight of their own choices. Sarah had set out to destroy me instead. She destroyed herself, and I survived. I thrived, and I never looked back. Was this revenge justified, or did it go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your take, and if you love jaw-dropping pro-revenge stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and smash the like for more thrilling tales you won't want to miss. Every like, share, and subscription means the world to us. It helps us keep bringing you the stories you crave. Your support truly makes a difference. Thank you so much for being part of our community.